boy, and welcome to Who Patheticals. We're back. I know it's been a while, and I know the Milwaukee Bucks have been eliminated, and we'll get to them shortly. But first of all, Tommy, what's up?
Going good. I felt like I had to sort of recover and come down. That was the end of our season. I'm now on basically just my villain era for watching basketball, which I know we'll probably discuss a bit later when it gets to our kind of conference finals check-in. But yeah, I kind of have decided how I feel about all the teams, and a lot of it is villain era, especially in the East. West, maybe not so much, but I went from I watch basketball for pleasure to I watch basketball to talk smack to the TV. So, but I'm doing great. Yeah, no, doing good, mate. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I'm at this point watching the Eastern Conference, and it's started at a low simmer, and now it's a loud seething sound as I watch these teams all get injured, leaving us with the worst possible outcome.
Honestly, just really quick, you crushed it. You nailed it on the head last episode when you said the vibes in the East are off. I have been almost evangelizing that as the kind of slogan for the Eastern Conference since our last podcast. I don't know about our listeners, but I have just been telling everyone the vibes in the East have been off, and they continue to be off. They didn't stop. It continues to be off.
It continues to be off. And look, we're gonna stay with the conference finals in a second, but before we get into that, just wanted to add some legitimacy to the Who Patheticals podcast. As of now, I am the official voice of the Coburg Giants basketball team. Everybody got the hoodie going and everything. So, do I know basketball? Not any more or less than I did before, but now I'm allowed to talk about it slightly more.
Yeah, great. And when is their next game, Jez? Just so the people can show up if they want to.
That'll be 6 o'clock Saturday at Coburg Stadium. Get down and bleed teal.
Wow. Is there a price on tickets, or is it free?
There is a price on tickets because we like to pay our athletes, Tommy.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm trying to give you an alley-oop here, mate. Don't have to be like that. But...
And I swatted that one right off the backboard.
Okay, so that's goaltending. Anyway, so playoffs check-in.
No, you know what? Let's start in the East, because let's just get this out of the way, okay? I would say that if this is going to be one of my most haterade playoffs I've watched ever. I'm sipping it long and hard. I would definitely say the Eastern Conference is a great place to start. We will do a deeper Bucks run later, so I mean, obviously what happened to them, devastating. But rolling through, I mean, the Cavs, it was a disaster against the Celtics, as you'd expect. Indy, it's just been a disaster. The Knicks, injuries every second of the game. It was just this has been truly devastating to watch. It's only good if you like watching people's hearts be broken, all this Eastern Conference has been.
Like Jalen Brunson, I heard someone say the other day, should Jalen Brunson be in MVP talks? That is how much people were on that train. And he had 3 or 4 40-point games in that one. You know what I mean? He was cooking. And yeah, it's just... It also shows just how crap the Pacers were, that it took 7 games for them to take down the most hobbled second-round team I've ever seen in the New York Knicks. So, yeah, and don't even get me started on the Celtics, mate. I just, the only reason I'm watching those games is because of Drew. That's the only reason. And, we can get to this a little bit later, but, he's... potential to get another ring is the only redeeming quality out of that side. But yeah, it's been tough to watch, honestly. And but nothing is more enjoyable than seeing Tyrese Halliburton get that smirk just wiped cleanly off his face. Man's getting cooked by again, and you love to see it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, let's just. I think something that we've got to chat about is just how sad it's been. I think we've covered that a little bit, but it's just been sad in the East. It's actually been so sad that I've actually just not watched a lot of games because it's just been so sad, honestly.
Yeah,
this would never happen usually, but it's just frustrating. It has made me wonder how much people are going to roast the Celtics if they do end up winning. Because
they're in a lose-lose.
Yeah, because I did want to sort of highlight the fact that I feel
Yeah.
like they had harder regular season games than they've had at any
Yeah.
of these games in the playoffs. Like, they have had their regular season was at this stage harder than their playoffs run.
They've never actually looked, and weirdly enough, they never actually looked like they were going to lose a series in the playoffs. But on the conversely, they've never actually looked dominant in a series. They've kind of just meandered their way through a couple of gentlemen sweeps, and it's like I can't see them being genuinely competitive in the finals if and when they do get there. And yeah, it's just kind of this is what I mean by lose-lose. So say they make it to the finals, everyone will be like, well, they had to make it to the finals because everyone in the East was injured. Say they win, everyone will be like, oh, well, Luka's on 1 foot, or the Wolves have had at least 2 7-game series, so they're knackered. You know what I mean? Or they lose, and then it's second time to the finals, and they've lost. They've been to the conference finals. What is it, like 5 out of the last 7 years, and only won one of them? So it's lose-lose for them. No one wants to see them win, and kind of everyone wants to blame them if they lose. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And
No,
I don't
it's-
care.
it's-
And quite rightly, I might add as well. All the hate that they get, they can completely deserve. And, I have no issue with it. I'll pile
Yeah.
on happily.
Well, let's switch over to the other conference. I want to kind of give you a bit of my how I've been interpreting these playoffs so far emotionally. Okay.
Okay, go.
So initially, I was pretty keen for the Nuggets. I thought Timberwolves are pretty fun. I was like, okay, these are kind of my 2 teams I'll be going for here.
Yeah, me
Started
too.
following them. Obviously, they played each other last series. Fantastic series. Everything you could have wanted.
Yeah.
And then I was sort of getting into Dallas. I was kind of getting into their vibe. I thought, oh, this is a fun 1-2 punch. How do you stop them? But after watching today's game, I cannot do Luka complaining anymore. I'm just done.
See, he had like one game in the OKC series. I don't know if you remember. It was like game 4 or 5 or something where he like came out and just didn't complain. Like you could tell he had just chosen, I'm just going to hoop, and however it goes, I'm not going to complain. And then he just like went, bored of that, punt it. Let's just go back to how we did it before. And I don't know why, because I feel the same way. All he does is whinge. And like, yeah, sorry, keep going.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just think that I would be very pro next game because it's 100% justified. Him getting double teched, like him getting a tech
Yeah.
at some point in the game, and if he keeps it up, just getting thrown out. I would be so happy with that because it would make him complain less throughout the rest of the playoffs.
He needs a tech check. It's
Yeah,
like, you know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like, and I actually thought it was going to happen. Was it a couple of games ago? He got an early tee. He got like a tee maybe the first or second quarter, and then he was real chippy in the second half. And I was kind of like, man, are they going to chuck him? Because, and from a fan's point of view, if I'd paid tickets to go and see that game and Luka gets chucked in the first, or anything that's not the last minute. Actually, any part of the game, I'd be dirty ads. But it's also like, he needs a tech check. He needs a tech check.
I think also maybe if they should do it if the games go back to Minnesota, they should definitely do it there if they're going to do it anyway. Because if they do it in Dallas, the refs may be killed on as they exit the stadium.
Yeah, I think so. I think what they need to do is do that if they make it back. So say they win game 4 and it's 3-1 and it's like, oh my goodness, will anyone beat the, come back from 3-zip? And then, toss him in game 5 and then see what happens. But yeah, I kind of feel the same way, mate. I felt like the Nuggets-Wolves series was kind of my conference finals for the West, just because it was such an incredible series, so dramatic. The OKC-Dallas series was also a conference, conference quality. I kind of wanted OKC to win just because I feel like they're more fun to watch. There's something a little hateable about Luka. Like, he's really good. He's super, he's incredible. There's something a little hateable about him. But I also goes without saying, pales in comparison to the Celtics. I would happily see Denver, OKC, the Wolves, Dallas. Heck, I'd even rather see the Suns go back to the finals than see the Celtics be competitive at the end of the season. So, obviously Dallas is going to the finals, and this is the thing, mate. The Celtics are just going to get so bullied. and so punished, and I'm here for it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep or gentleman's sweep. That's my prediction. I mean, obviously it'll be Dallas because Wolves can't come back. It's sad. I wanted the Wolves to win. I was on the Ant train. I was on that hype train. Choo choo, let's go. He was cooking. It was fun to watch. I don't know. I felt like they played good. I really liked their role players. I love Jaden McDaniels, Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Really fun to even Slow-Mo. What's his flipping name?
Yeah, love him.
Yeah,
Anderson.
So fun to watch. Like, he's just like watching him do free throws and people get called for the what's it called when they step over the line? Hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's actually been playing good. And Mike Conley is so hard to not love. Like, he's the best. So yeah, really fun team, but they've just been outplayed by Luka every step of the way. It's such a shame they've been cooked. Like, it's a wrap.
Well, Tommy, I wanted to also congratulate you on a correct call you made last year. Okay, this is a huge callback that I was not sure of at the time, but I think you deserve to claim.
I'll claim
your
it.
rightful. So last year, heading into this season, everybody said Denver was going to repeat. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone said,
I remember this.
Who's even going to challenge them? I think they lost only three games in the whole playoffs last year. I mean, they were just dominating everybody. Yeah. And you said, I predict they're not going to double up. And you actually said you predict it's going to be harder than ever for anyone to double up. So, Tommy, I just wanted to congratulate you, mate.
Thank you.
On that one.
I think... Oh, I received that. Yeah, I think it's like... We're in the most equal period of the NBA has seen for forever. Like, any of those last four teams in the West, I think had a genuine shot at making it. But also the East, I don't know, there's at least the Celtics who are decent, I suppose. But yeah, I would just say there's more teams in the West that make it competitive. And I don't think repeating is going to be hard. It's going to be real hard. Like, Denver will have another good shot next year. And Dallas seem really young. So I can't see any reason why they wouldn't at least have another good crack at it. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Bucks, mate. 2025. Let's go.
There we go. The predictions in. Lock it in. It's a Chuck guarantee.
Also, sorry, and just on the finals as well. Obviously everyone knows that, and I'm hoping this gets Luka complaining less. He gets Finals MVP. You know what I mean? If they go to the finals and he wins, he gets Finals MVP, and that's his MVP. Do you know what I mean? That he hasn't got yet. And yeah, my only thing is if they don't win and the Celtics win, at least Drew gets something. And that's my only that's my personal consolation prize, because I love Drew, and yeah, we made a mistake at some level. Maybe not entirely, but at some level in trading him. Anyway, sorry.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of good defenders, I want to talk about someone today. Actually, you've just reminded me. We can't leave this topic without me talking about this person.
All right.
I wanted to just do a quick negative shout out to Rudy Gobert. He is actually my surprise winner of the son of a badge. He's getting his own 2K badge. So let's play that sound effect. Fantastic. Rudy Gobert, you have been awarded the Broken Video Editor badge. Now, what is that for? That's for someone who has no post-production. Rudy Gobert... What is going on?
What's happening? This dude's 7 feet tall, could dunk on 99% of the world, and every time he gets the ball, he has the Thanasis effect of looking like he's never handled a basketball in his entire life. And you know what's even worse is, oh man, I don't know if you've noticed this. So every time Ant runs a pick and roll with Rudy, Rudy rolls hard and puts his arms up like, I'm open and I'm free. Ant never passes it. So I don't know why they even go to a drop or not blitz him. But once or twice a game, Ant will pass it. He'll go for the pocket pass or whatever. Rudy will get it, turnover, fumble, or he'll put up a shot and it's that's not even a little bit close, dude. Not even a little bit. He sucks. I remember you saying watching the playoffs, if we have to watch offensive draw ups for Rudy Gobert, it's just going to be a long postseason. And Thank goodness we haven't seen too much of that. But wow, I mean, he gets that son of a badge. No post-production, mate.
Absolutely not. The video editor, the broken video editor he's got. I just wanted to shout him out because I think this is a take you and I have both been on where we have not been swayed by the defensive players of the year as to whether he is or is not a good player. That has never once been a factor. I think you and I have been very consistent on how much we don't like him as a player.
Yeah, like the only way I'll go into bat for him is that when Jokic dropped 40 on his head, he actually was playing okay defense. Like, he was doing his best. It just wasn't good enough. You know what I mean?
I think, Tommy, you're actually highlighting maybe the point that I care about the most, okay? So you're right. He was doing his best, and Jokic still dropped 40 on him, okay? Hold on. Wait, hold on. He was doing his best, right? And Rudy, and still 40 points get dropped on him by Jokic. Someone who's roughly his size plays the same position, okay? This is where he should be at his best, okay? Is guarding someone who's his own position. Today, the commentators said they felt sorry for him when the guards pulled him out and just made him dance. And I felt the same way. This is the man who just won Defensive Player of the Year. And he can't guard a center, and he can't guard a guard. So who is he guarding?
You're spot on. Like, at best, he's a help defender. He's like a poor man's Giannis, on the help defense. Because you're right. Once they pull him out to the perimeter, he's doing his best Brook Lopez impression of just getting cooked. And you're right. When he's in the paint, Jokic drops 40 on his head, and it's like, where do you put him then? Where do you put him? Because you can't put your Defensive Player of the Year as the help or like the role defense or whatever it is. It's just not happening. I mean, mate, Jaden McDaniels is playing better D than he is.
Everybody on the team is playing better. Like, I'd say Karl Anthony Towns is playing better defense than he is.
Poor dude is having a tough series. I mean, if we're hanging crap on the Wolves, which, to be honest, I do love the team, but Cat's offensive bag at the moment is only rivaled by Rudy's, I'd say, in quality, and that's just it. You hate to see it. He is like just putting up bricks. I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
Tommy, just quickly before we get off this topic, I did want to ask, how would you rank Slow-Mo's 3-point shot and just the action of that versus Matthew Dellavedova, peak 2016?
It's hard to go past our fellow countrymen in Delhi. And speaking of great people on defense, never forget the clamps he put on Chef Curry, mate. I think that Delhi's release isn't actually that slow. So if we're going for like style points, he's not winning many competitions there. But as far as like, trigger pulling kind of capacity and speed, I actually think Delhi wasn't that bad. So yeah, Slow-Mo takes the cake on that one. I think the dude, he looks like Giannis shooting a free throw a little bit. Like, he's got that it's like a hezzy, but it's as in the right hand hezzy. It's it's tough.
It's amazing. It's honestly, I'm just so happy to see someone with a different jump shot still in the NBA. Yeah. I'll take it from anyone. It's so exciting to watch. Every time he shoots it, I'm so excited.
And I love when they call... Sorry, just as a last point as well. I love when... It's a lane violation is what I couldn't think of before. But when everyone on both his team and the other team get lane violations when he's shooting free throws, and then it cuts to Ant explaining to the ref, no, that's just his form. He's not actually pump faking the free throw. You can't... Don't call the lane violation. He just shoots that way. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's amazing stuff. All right, Tommy, I think it's time for our worst fake. So here we go.
All right.
Alrighty, tell me. Well, this is, as we know, worst fake. For people that haven't listened before, you and I are both going to have just a short first take style segment talking about a topic that might have sort of, it might be a hot take that you'd see on First Take. However, the only difference between us and First Take is that we don't know the topic we're going to be arguing for, and we don't know which side we're going to be arguing till right now. So, Tommy, we've both prepared a topic for one another. Do you want to go first as the talking head, or do you want to be the first question asker?
I would like to ask the question of you, if that's all right, because I think...
I'm ready.
The Bucks couldn't have drawn it up any better. As we know, there is a big free agency in LeBron James coming up this year, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to sign him, we're going to draft Bronny, and then the starting five, at least the first four, Giannis, Thanasis, LeBron, and Bronny. Give me that take.
Well, you know what they say, blood is thicker than water, you know, and the John Horst must have to believe that is true, because if we're getting a father and son and we're getting brothers on the same team, I mean, we may as well bring them all in. Let's get Robin back.
Get Robin.
Let's get all the brothers in. Maybe one of the we could probably see if we can get two of the Holiday brothers. You know, the other ones that aren't Drew.
Sure, the other ones.
I just think here's what it is. All right, at this point, you're playing for nothing but pride. Okay, and here's where the game gets really interesting. Okay,
it's not a ring.
Exactly. You foul Bronny. You don't think LeBron's going to come and push you. You foul Thanasis. You don't think Giannis is going to come push you. Our team will all of a sudden become the most intimidating team on the market because you have someone who is directly invested in their sibling or child surviving. So I think that the chance is it just unlocks a deeper family sort of connection. And to be honest, as a sort of bonus thing, I think that Bronny, if he is actually kind of what he's supposed to be, which is a defensive guard, we actually could use that. So might actually see legit mins.
Family on 3. 1, 2, 3. You know what? I actually don't think that's a bad worst fake because we need the athleticism. We need that youth on the wing. I'd take that. That. Yep, good. Well done.
All right. Well, Tommy, I wanted to stay with the LeBron free agency, and we can jump into it a little bit more after this segment, but I'm going to keep the LeBron free agency with you. This is the most first take segment I can imagine. I actually think they'll do this tomorrow, so I want you to be in ahead first, okay?
All right.
Why is the New York Knicks signing LeBron James the best way for them to win the championship next year?
The king's coming home, baby. And this is the thing. Madison Square Garden, it deserves a king. And so this is the time. If not now, then when? I don't know how many years it's been since they've won a ring, but LeBron's still got one in him. They're going to sign him. Whether they get Bronny or not, doesn't matter. They've been playing good. This is what they need to get over the hump. A 40-plus-year-old man in his sunset years who's going to run the offense. What does Jalen Brunson need? Another person who is ball dominant. And so that'll just really fit well with Julius Randle, who is like the most forgotten person on that team. I just think that this will be part of LeBron's like full redemption arc. Like he needs to go to a big market. We know this. There's no other big markets that are real. Like can't go back to Miami. He's not going back to the Cavs. I can't see him going like sort of Texas anywhere. He needs somewhere that they have the absorptive capacity for a LeBron James. And the only place where that could be is Madison Square Garden. Get Spike Lee on the phone. I think we can make this happen. I think it's legit. They can do it.
Absolutely. Great job, Tommy. I have no doubt that Stephen A is jotting down some notes from that right now. I also realized why yours is more accurate than I had suspected, and that's... Oh, hold on. Tommy, also, I just realized why yours is more accurate, that the Bucks would sign LeBron, and the reason for that is clearly that he's over the age of 35. John Horst has him highlighted. Yeah. He's like, how can we get another aged player on the team?
We need... the only issue is he's not washed. So maybe in a few years he might be in a position to take that vet minimum. But prerequisite for the Bucks is plus 35. Yeah, I can see it happening. You love to see it. Johnny Horst, you love to see it.
Now, Tommy, before we get into our next segment, I just want to do a quick rundown because we've got the LeBron free agency, right? You know, last time that he was a real free agency, it's been ages. So I wanted to talk a little bit about LeBron to the Lakers energy, okay? And what that career has kind of looked like because he's basically got there in 1920, wins the chip straight away. All right? And I just wanted to highlight what team he had, okay? Because So here's what
that
it
sounded like in 1920, like he's that old.
He kind of is that old.
Not the 1920 season. Yeah.
I want to talk about the 1920, as in 2019-20.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sure the 1920 Lakers also would have been an interesting squad. But so here's the team that they had. Okay, they had KCP, Caruso, AD, LeBron, Kuzma, Rondo, Danny Green, JaVale McGee, and Avery Bradley. Okay, you look at that team and you go, that's a team that could actually kind of work in 2024. Yeah. You know, it's two stars and just a bunch of defensive wing type players. You know.
Yeah, I mean, what's Danny Green doing these days? Because he's above
Good
35,
question.
so we could probably sign him. John Horst, I know you're listening. But yeah, the Lakers are perennially the team that when you look at previous rosters, you go, oh, that person actually turned out pretty good. Why did they trade him away sort of thing? Caruso being a classic example of that, even at some level D'Lo, but he's back, I guess. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with LeBron. Like, he's not moving. This is the thing. Like, it's free agency, but he won't actually sign with anyone else. But I also don't know what his career... Because, like, how many seasons of Last Dance has he had filmed? That's what I want to know. Like, how many times have they had, like, the crew following him? It's got to be at least 2, maybe 3. Like, they obviously... I don't think they did one for the 21 season. Is that when they won? But yeah,
20.
like 20. Yeah. So, but like, he obviously wants another ring. It's probably not going to happen, but they're probably still going to film it anyway. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I guess what I was going to look at with this, though, was like, you look at that roster, it makes kind of sense. You know, it's a kind of modern roster, 2 superstars and a bunch of good role players that can play defense, right? Most of that got traded for Russell Westbrook, and his legacy has been living with that decision. You know, like that
tough.
really is the Lakers' LeBron. So anyway, I just want to float some spots out for you quickly where he could go, where LeBron could go. Just obviously. So I was thinking first one was New York, what you talked about, but you just sub Randall out. You go, you're going back to the Lakers, mate, and then probably Beijing. But you know.
Just jump from one flight. Just keep on going, mate. You just stop over at LAX for, a little layover.
So that's one for all the reasons you listed. Another one I thought of, sub out Tobias Harris and LeBron James.
I mean, maybe. Maybe. Yeah.
Because it kind of makes sense. It's like he's like a big, power forward. They've got Tyrese Maxey. They got Embiid. There feels like there's kind of enough there. And without Tobias Harris, who has just been one of the sad stories, kind of reminds me of like, who's a good actor? Sort of, I guess, Ben Affleck after kind of Gone Girl, where it's just kind of a bit like the vibes are a little off.
This is what I'm saying, mate. He's like the embodiment. He's like animated by the spirit of the East, which is like, And the thing is, he's not even injured as well. Like, the injured people, you go, yeah, that is unlucky. Your Jimmy Butlers, your Giannis's, even Dames and that kind of thing. But yeah, he's just cheeks. He's just rubbish. And there's no excuse. It's not like he's not getting the shots as well. Like, he's putting up shots. It's not like he's not getting the minutes. He gets the minutes. He's just out there doing cardio. So...
I mean, I bet John Horst is licking his lips. 33 or 34 years old.
Yes.
He's a bit washed.
Massive contract. Even better. Sign me up.
The other two that I've heard Dallas has been floated a lot. I think that's more LeBron's wishful thinking than anything. I don't know if Kyrie wants to play with him anymore, and I think Luka essentially is the LeBron figure there, so it doesn't really make sense.
They don't need it.
Yeah, and then the last one that I had, this was just fun for me, was I felt like Sacramento could be kind of interesting. I mean, LeBron would never play in Sacramento. It's absolutely off the table.
Outlandish.
But I could just see it being kind of fun where it's like, it's a fun build where you've got fast guards, you've got people that can shoot, you've got Sabonis inside, and then it's like kind of him playing with those items. Because I was like, what's a team that doesn't have a LeBron type where he could just kind of slot right in and then everybody is, there's someone who wants to generate some offense. So... what do you reckon?
It's that, or like I think we were saying last time, he just starts the Las Vegas team and just moves out there, and like it does kind of a MJ on the Wizards type energy of like, I'm just gonna go put up some good numbers, have a season or two, and then just be done with it, and then own it somehow. He'll just own the franchise.
It's the most middle-aged move of all time. Moving to Vegas, just starting your own little basketball team, and then just like being a dad, just living in Vegas, driving up the strip, and just, living your best life.
Oh dear, I couldn't think of anything worse. But yeah, I could see him doing that.
All right, Tommy, let's save Agent Cody Banks for the end. Let's jump right into our Bucks chat. I think we've got to get into it.
All right.
Do you have any headline items you want to talk about here? Obviously, we are a Milwaukee Bucks leading podcast. I should mention this for new listeners. So you're going to get some pretty in-depth analysis here.
Well, I mean, I'd just say I called it from the start, I knew that we'd need a season to settle into kind of Dame. And, he was sort of out of his rhythms and there was a bit of injuries going around. Obviously not a great end to the season, but there was some some bright lights every now and then. Dame kind of, when he was playing, he played okay in the playoffs. I don't think he was that bad. He had a couple of, especially some of those first quarters and first halves, where he just went off. Chris as well had a monster series against the Pacers. He proved that he's at least got a little bit left in the tank. Bobby Portis was genuinely in Sixth Man of the Year conversations. And Pat Bev played pretty good perimeter defense, all things considered. So, look, for next season, obviously Giannis gets a really good break, which I think is really important. Oh, this is the other thing. I know we've talked about it before, but the disrespect on Giannis, having one of the probably the best season of his career, quite frankly, 60% field goal percentage. He's averaging as much points and boards as ever before, and I think even more, at least one or two more assists. So everyone's acting like Giannis is washed and can't do anything. It's like the James Harden take. All he does is run and dunk, and it's just trash. So I don't think that there's cause for alert or concern. I think next season, Dame and Giannis will be looking a lot better. Chris will obviously be a lot healthier, but also he's found his rhythm as that third, fourth option. Bobby's still sticking around, so yeah, I think we just got to make a couple of good trades, mate. And then we'll be back to being the Bucks. And this is the other thing: the disruption of the change in coaching staff can't be underestimated in its impact on the season. So, one of the good things about Bud was that his system, everyone knew it. It was locked in. It was kind of like live by the sword, die by the sword. So, and that's why we had such good defense for so many years. So, I would like to see that under the dock. He proved that he could do it sometimes. What are your takes?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's been the most chaotic Milwaukee Bucks season ever. So it's hard to kind of judge it. The only thing that does kind of give me a little bit of pause for concern is that how good these teams are in the playoffs. I'm watching Dallas, and I'm watching even the Nuggets, and I'm watching the Timberwolves. And I look at them...
No one in the East, obviously, but...
Yeah, no one in the East. But, I'm looking at them, and I'm seeing these long athletic wings. I'm seeing defensive players that hit timely threes for some reason, I'm seeing people... Exactly. I'm seeing people that can kind of guard a lot of people up and down the roster. I'm seeing switchable bigs, not Gobert.
Nas Reed.
But, Nas Reed, Derek Lively, even at some points, he's
a rookie.
Youth. Yeah. So it's you're just looking at all these things, and I look at them, and I look at our team, and I go, "There's a chance we could get we could." I think kind of what also happened with the Pacers is the same thing. It's we could get out athletic at this point,
outran.
I know we don't have Giannis, and he's our athletic sort of crux of the whole team, and he can obviously hang with any of these teams, but there is a chance that Chris Middleton may not be able to. Hang with Ant Edwards. If he's guarding Ant Edwards, he's getting blown by every single time.
It's tough.
Same with Dame. Bees, so it's for me, there's an obvious fix where we need to get youth. I think we just have to commit to the youth. Now, whether that's use the youth we already have sitting on the pine that can play defense and can, surprisingly shoot. I don't know if that's... I think that may be the solution, but we need to play people that were born in the 2000s, I think.
And this, Jez, I think segues, if you'll allow me to, segues into my kind of sub-segment of the Bucks breakdown, which is make them sign or show them the pine. And I think...
Let me play something.
Oh!
There we go.
There we go. you started to touch upon it, but there's quite a few people on our roster that we need to either make them sign, keep them around a little bit, develop them, or we need to show them the pine or the door, but door doesn't rhyme with sign, so it's going to be the pine for now.
And some doors are made of pine, so
yeah,
you
that's
know.
it. And I also think there's some contractual obligations that we might not be able to get out of, but that's kind of neither here nor there. I think one of the more interesting, it's easy to foregone conclusions on your Jay Crowders. So no point bringing him up. And your Danilo Gallinari's. No point wasting any more breath that we've already dispensed on these gentlemen. But, Malik Beasley. Make him sign or show him the pine, Jez. Which one? What are we doing?
I think he is a sign and trade because you sign him to like $15 million a year, and then because he hits some good threes, you just flick him into the open market. You find a team who just needs shooting, and you go, who's your young defensive player? Let's swap it.
Right.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I want to believe in Malik Beasley, and I feel like the first half of the season, I was like, oh yeah, he could be a regular rotational player. He makes up for the hole that Grayson Allen left. No problems. But he just crumbled in like not only just the playoffs, but just the back half of like the All-Star break onwards sort of thing. So yeah, I think you're right. I think he's a bit of a journeyman and will just perennially be traded. So not much you can do about it really. But
wait,
you did, yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, the one thing about it is, though, that if we trade him at some point in a playoff series, he's going to hit like 5 threes on us in a game. It's just naturally going to happen. Somehow it'll unlock him.
It's happened before, it'll happen again. It's the Dante DiVincenzo effect.
Wait, tell me, I wanted to throw someone at you now.
All right, go on then.
For a make him sign or hit the pine. Pat Bev.
I want to make him sign. I like him. I like him for the culture. I actually think he played pretty good defense. Everyone was kind of clowning him after this. His antics at the end of the last game overshadowed what was overall a fairly decent defensive and, might I add, offensive playoff run. He was getting buckets in that game 5, I think it was, where he dropped like 21 points or something. So I would like to keep him around. He's still good defender. He's a bit eccentric, but he's kind of like our Dennis. He's like our poor man's Dennis Rodman almost. Not in a rebounds way, but in a like unhinged but still decent basketball player kind of way.
I like it. Unhinged, I agree. I did have show them the Pine Gallo, but I'm glad you already covered that one off.
Have to.
Absolutely no need to talk about that one. Tommy, I'm going to throw another one at you.
Go on then.
And then you can throw one at me. Marjon.
We got to show him the Pine. Unfortunately, I think like the ship's sailed like with the last 3 coaches who've just failed to really believe in Marjon, and he looks like a shell of a man out there. This man, it just looks so defeated. Yeah, I think it's just time for him to have it. He's kind of like the Jordan. He's our modern day Jordan Nwora, or like from a few seasons ago, where it's like we kind of never gave you a full chance to actually develop. Every time you got minutes, you were okay, but you never actually got minutes outside of trash time. So I think that he'll flourish on like, honestly, a team that'll just give him something like maybe the Pistons, I don't know, or like Toronto, where they got a bit of space. Even the Wizards, just a team that are looking for someone who can put up shots. I think he's okay, but show him the Pine. Sticking with the youth, I know he's popular around these parts, but I want to hear you talk about it. Ajax.
He was the first name I wrote down in Make Him Sign.
Absolutely, he was.
To me, it's the most obvious sign. He's just the most fun that our team has. Yeah, that's really it. There's no other fun
factor.
To say. Exactly. Also, Tommy, my friends just arrived, but let's get a final wrap up here. You got any final thoughts for any of the other players?
I think we've got to decide what we're doing with Brook Lopez. Whether he's still in starting 5 or whether we try and sub him out for a more athletic 5 or a stretch 5 maybe. I wouldn't even mind if we just play small a little bit. Put Giannis at the 5, get Ajax in there, and sort of see what happens. But we need Brook. I'm not sure. I'm really in 2 minds about it. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, boot this dude, and sometimes I'm like, he's actually still got a block in him. So Not sure.
My thoughts were this is actually the season to sell. Even though I like him, a great
Sell
player,
high.
but exactly, like, he's only getting older, and he kind of has the Rudy Goberts where it's like when you sort of target him in the playoffs, it can be a real problem. So I think I think it could be, and I think a lot of teams would want him. Big 3-point shooter. Like, I mean, he's a good option. So
Yeah, it might be time to sell higher before he has an actual bad season or a bad injury, and then it's done. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, which is actually a shame for Dame, because I think Dame loved using him in the pick and roll, but
Because he's a really good center. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He actually had a better pick and roll with him than he did Giannis, funnily enough.
Definitely.
But anyway.
All right, we got to do a Cody Banks.
Come on,
so
mate.
let me
Quick
fire
one.
this up.
Yeah. There it is.
Amazing. All right, well, this is Agent Cody Banks. I should really make that louder,
Yeah, I just had to turn it up. I didn't quite get the full range of the spectrum there, audio-wise.
So, for people that don't know, Agent Cody Banks is you and I, not unlike Worst Fake, are going to give each other someone that we do not know. So this is going to be an improvised round. But our job is to act as their agent and make them the most amount of money. It's like they're sitting at the table and you're trying to convince the GM. Okay?
Yep.
These will often be obscure players or sort of memeable players. So Tommy, I think because you went first with Worst Fake, I'm going to give you your player first this time.
Right.
You're 45 seconds on the clock.
Let's go.
I want you to get this man the bag. And of course, I'm talking about the man. We've brought him up already on this podcast. Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris, if you're looking for someone who can just soak up a little bit of your cap space, I've got the man for you. If you're looking for someone who's going to go 3 for 20 and somehow score less points than 3, I've got the man for you. He's going to foul out. You can throw him on your best, like the other team's best or second or fifth best player. He's still fouling out. He's just, when you just need a body to run cardio and not get offensive rebounds, all jokes aside, I actually think he's got leadership. He's got some kind of veteran mentality, and I can see him really going a long way on Hornets, Wizards, Toronto, other teams that don't have any chance of contending, because he's going to develop your youth and develop your star player. So get that man a bag of popcorn, because that's all he's going to be getting. Sorry, Tobias. I tried on that one, mate. That's tough. It was tough.
It was tough. When I came up with it, I'm like, that's a hard one.
Yeah, that's an L. He's catching strays on this. All right, mate. I'm going a little bit off-piste on this one, but you'll definitely know the person. Not a player per se, but just with the context of JB Bickerstaff, obviously the Cavs head coach being dismissed, Monty Williams from Pistons on the rocks at the moment. So there's a little bit of a market for it. I want you to tell me why we want to give the bag to our beloved Adrian Griffin.
Ooh, Adrian Griffin. Well, I mean, to be honest, his record versus Doc Rivers was better.
It was pretty good.
I mean, who was the better coach this year? The answer is not obvious. Even though
13.
Even though only one of them got fired this season, the other one only got fired like 6 months earlier. So it's not like he's that much more better at being employed. I think that we thought the things that he was good at was playing the young players. So that was good. The thing that you don't like about him was his face at any time anything was going wrong was that of absolute sheer blankness of the mind. There was nothing going on behind the eyes, and it was nothing but being overwhelmed. So for that reason, I wouldn't give him the bag, but the other reasons, absolutely. Give him the bag.
The man was 30-13, lest we forget. So,
He got fired.
And he got fired. He got fired. Actually, I think the last time it was a Cavs coach that got fired, and they had this similar record. So there might be a bit of an avenue there. Cavaliers, get that man on the phone.
It's actually not the worst call I've ever heard.
No,
all right, well, Tommy, that's brought us to the end of the podcast today. But I just wanted to say thank you. I have no doubt our sort of wild predictions will become more accurate over time, as they have today. Did you have any final sort of thoughts for the people?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing Luka just put some damage on the Celtics once again, and hopefully win his first chip. I'm looking forward to next season, and please stop emailing me. Please stop sending me letters.
And what is that email again, Tommy?
It's whopatheticals@gmail.com, isn't it?
It is. It is. And you can also follow us on TikTok. I put up some Legends of League Pass moments on there. I got a really good one the other day of whoever the Timberwolves acting head coach is. Also, Tommy, I did have a sort of rapid fire last question for you. I just want to get your final thoughts before we head off. Sure. As soon as you say your answer, I'm going to say Finn, and it's over. Okay?
All right, I'm so ready.
All right. Which is a better feeling? Clean bowling someone in cricket, middle stump, okay? Or being hot in basketball? I'm talking you've made 3 straight threes, and they've been nothing but net.
As someone who, this happened to me on Sunday morning at approximately 11 a.m., it's getting hot from behind the arc, mate. Nothing but net. I was lacing them. 3 threes in a row. I'll take that every single day.
Amazing. And Finn.
Finn.